You're dead to me. I'm not seeing you at all next year. Go fuck yourself. Hi, welcome to Third Wheel. No, okay, Steven, just do the intro.
I can hear Brandon crying silently.
Dude, he's literally smiling. I'm literally looking at him right now. He's smiling. Fucking douchebag.
Douchebag?
Hi, welcome to Third Wheel.
I was trying to hit the key button, but I wasn't in my Brandon tabs. Anyways. Hello, welcome to Third Wheel, a show where we discuss anything that we want to talk about, and one person will more likely contribute to the conversation less than the other two. That person is then dubbed the Third Wheel, and the other two will proceed to make fun of them for it. We typically make fun of Brandon either way, but you know what, we'll see what happens. The third wheel of the last episode, which is Grace, I introduced you both, so I'm going to make you both say hi now.
Hi.
Holy hell!
Hello.
Oh, okay.
Hello
There they are. We have Gollum as our first guest on the podcast. Anyways, Grace was the third wheel of the last episode, and she gets to pick the topic for this episode.
Grace still needs to introduce herself. The guest,
Hi.
That silence is gonna kill me when editing. That's gonna hurt. Anyways, I'm your host Steven, and oh boy, do we never stay on topic. Anyways, speaking of which, Grace, what's our topic for today?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah, that would be really important.
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
It's kind of cloudy out here in the Sierra Nevada.
This week's topic is going to be about parental punishments, essentially how our parents punished us in the most creative ways and how they have essentially made it so we will or will not use those punishments in the future, and how they've possibly inspired some spicy punishments when we're parents in the future.
Oh boy.
Spicy punishments?
I don't know what spicy adds to the punishment, but
it adds some spice, some personality.
You're such a dad already, Brandon. That was the worst dad joke I've ever heard.
Alright, you know what? That's my first punishment. I'm just gonna have my child just sit through
jokes.
my bullshit.
You're gonna sit your child down and have a heart-to-heart and crack dad jokes, and they're gonna be so uncomfortable that they will never do anything ever again. It's punishment enough for me.
I think the real punishment was hearing me say it out loud. I kind of
topic.
It's very long and very I don't know what the word is. Very long.
I had an aneurysm when I was trying to describe the playground episode, so you're good.
Yeah, that was so hard to edit, you asshole.
I was trying to find the words and I just couldn't.
I could
sorry,
tell.
I had a stroke.
I'm sorry, I'm having a stroke right now.
That was just a compilation of Brandon's stroke moments collected throughout the episodes. No more. No. That was gross. Alright, well, Grace, you had you picked the topic. You have a specific reason for that topic. Let's go ahead and hear those stories you got. What are your parental punishments that you've had?
Well, obviously, if I hadn't made it as slap in the face obvious in the last episodes, my parents are divorced. And
yeah,
essentially my mom did a lot of the parenting because, as I've said before, my mom had me during the weeks, my dad had me during the weekends. So obviously during the week you had a lot more trouble going to bed early, doing homework, getting up early for school, etc. She dealt with the brunt of the garbage we put her through. So
that's fantastic.
All of these are pretty much my mom because we sucked. But you know what? No shade towards my mom, because you know what? We sucked. Me and my siblings were absolute dumpster fire of children.
Hey.
Damn.
But these are all kind of short, but essentially they hold a near and dear place in my heart. Okay, I think the first one, which worked really, really well actually, was for whatever reason, my siblings would fight a lot in the car. Me, I was dead silent. We still had no idea why, but I was always really quiet in the car as a child. But my siblings would go at it nonstop and they'd fight. And my mom absolutely hated it. She had to sit there and listen to them argue and bicker, and she couldn't leave the room. So essentially, her amazing idea to cope with this was pull over to the side of the road no matter where she was and make them do 10 push-ups. And every single time they said another word, she added on 10 more push-ups.
That's so funny.
It was really funny to watch too. I bet the pavement was scorching hot.
Oh.
I just remember because, like, I'd be chilling there eating my McFlurry in the car, and all of a sudden, my mom would pull over the car and make my sister do some push-ups. It was deserted in a show, you know?
Just to clarify, you only have the one sister, right?
Yeah, I have one sister and one
and it's
brother.
your asthmatic one, right?
Yes, it's my asthmatic sister.
That's fantastic.
Oh no.
I mean, she was fine. Like, I don't know why, but like, to be fair, all of us had asthma, but me and my brother grew out of it, you know?
Just breathe some more air.
Yeah, I don't know why. Our asthma attacks, at least mine, weren't very, like, they were not very, like, athletic based, which sounds weird, but I would get, like, asthma attacks in, like, the middle of the night and stuff.
Oh, got you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it was based on, but whatever. And, yeah, so that one's pretty funny. That one's ranked pretty high. And then, let's see. There's the one where, you know, we all say some bad words growing up that our parents don't really appreciate. So we have the combo of both soap in the mouth to clean it, and my personal favorite, which I looked up and is now considered child abuse, to which my mom responded, "Go ahead and call child services. They don't care. You're 18." She put hot sauce in my mouth, and she, like, guarded the sink. I didn't drink any water. I remember I used to sneak out to the garage where we had, like, another freezer, and I used to just wait for the ice cubes to melt in my mouth. But you know what? It worked. You know what? You gotta give credit where credit is due, you know?
That's
like,
really
yeah,
funny.
I'm really pissed off it happened, but it worked. That's all that matters.
That's really funny, actually.
It is really funny.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely hilarious. I have some more, but, like, my brain's not working, so does anybody else want to cut it?
I just kind of want to hop on that because that's really funny to me. My mom and your mom took similar paths, not push-ups, but she did put hot sauce on my tongue and my brother's tongue. I don't know about my older siblings because my family dynamic works to where by the time I could remember things, my oldest brother was already in high school, and so was my oldest sister. Like, I think in first grade, my oldest brother was in 8th grade. So like, I don't know punishments that they had for them too much. I don't really hear about them too much because it seemed that they kind of just harassed each other a little bit. But my brother and I would get hot sauce on our tongue because we would go at each other so often. We would always constantly be bickering. Except the only problem with this is that neither one of us were affected by the hot sauce that she would put on our tongue. My dad is like a spice connoisseur. He has an incredible spice tolerance. And apparently that gene was passed down to both me and my brother. But the two of us were also aware that we were getting punished, and neither one of us, you know, trying to get ourselves in trouble, took, you know, would be the only time that we would get along was when we got hot sauce on our tongue. First of all, my mom made the mistake thinking that Tapatio sauce is hot. Like, for some people, it might be spicy, but it's not like burn your tongue hot sauce. It's just like, it's got a little kick to it. And that's kind of how it was for the both of us, because we had a really good spice tolerance. It was like she put ketchup on her mouth. And that was it. And we never, like, let her know that it was something that didn't bother us. We would both act like it bothered us, and it would be really funny to us. And she would just walk away like, it's working. Because she had no idea about what was that we didn't have anything going on. I know, as far as like other punishments from my parents, my dad wasn't around a lot. He was a traveling salesman when I was young. He was like the sole provider for my house, well, for my family's household, for like a very long time. So I didn't have a lot of my dad growing up. And so yeah, like my mom was also kind of like just the person who was stay at home doing all like everything with the kids. And because she had 4 children, our punishments kind of like didn't exist. I'm also the youngest, which has like that youngness stereotype of me being the favorite or whatever, which kind of is true. Like that psychology is kind of true, where like the youngest is kind of, the more favorite, but also the psychology is flipped to where the oldest is also the favorite because they're the first and the most mature and the most, they have the better relationship.
Right.
The only reason that the youngest is like the one that gets like the least punishments or whatever, because after like kid 3, the parent doesn't care anymore. They understand that that's gonna happen, and they're just like, fucking whatever, you're a dumbass. Did you learn from it? Great, I don't want to deal with you. And that's kind of how that worked out for me as well. If I were to get in trouble, it would be like, get out of my face, I don't want to speak to you, and I would be sent to my room. I wouldn't be allowed to do things. And the severity of how, you know, annoying I was to my mom depended on like what in my room got taken away, what in my room I wasn't allowed to use. But also, me being a jackass to my parents, I made my room my domain, and I have everything in here. So that's when they weren't really able to start sending me to my room, because I had everything that I ever do in here. So when they would send me to my room, I'd just be like, all right, we'll play video games now. So yeah, it's
That's
kind
the
of,
biggest mood.
I know, right?
Oh.
It's like my mom would take away my phone and she'd be like, go read. And I'd be like, okay. And then I'd pull up my computer.
Yeah. There's only, at some point, there's only so much that they could take away before they were just like, all right, you're going to sit out here now. And I was like, oh. Damn. Yeah, but I also had like that disciplining whatnot of like getting spanked or whatever. It kind of grew out of it just a little bit because I started to run away. I started like, I saw if there was ever some fury in my parents when I was like discussing things with them, I would like separate myself with them with the kitchen island and stay on the other side of it. I don't know. I was a very smart asshole to my parents. I was very much a smart ass when it came to my parents. I still am, but
Oh.
even back then, I did a lot of things to avoid punishment. So, as much as I could, at least.
You good,
Most
buddy?
definitely.
Yeah, I'm good.
Pretty funny. I think that, like, growing up, my mom, I don't know if these are considered punishments, but they're really funny, so I'm going to tell them anyway. But essentially, my mom kind of, like, enabled our stupidity as kids. And so she's like,
Yeah.
play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
And so the main one that comes to mind is, how like every kid threatens to run away, like for some dumbass reason, like, oh, you won't let me have Oreos for breakfast, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
The thing is I didn't, like, I threw it out there, but I never had the balls to do it. But my brother, he followed through and he was like, hell yeah, I'm leaving. Like, screw this. Like, I'm gone. I'm out of here. And my mom was like, fair enough, I'll pack you a lunch. I remember my mom packed my brother a lunch, handed it to him, and she was like, bye, see you never.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He was gone for 40 minutes and spent like the first 25 in the bushes in front of our house. And then he like circled the neighborhood a few times before coming back.
That's awesome.
I thought it was really funny.
That's so funny.
The second time is I was really, really annoying as a kid, as most kids are. And
we've learned
this
that.
Weirdly enough, this was in preschool, and I remember this super, super vividly. Like, my mom didn't even have to tell me this. But essentially, she was like the type of mom who would give us a couple of options of what we wanted. It was never like she'd let us pack our own, like, because obviously we needed like more healthier stuff. But she let us choose between a few things. But this one morning, I was like, I want a rock, Mom. Like, I want to eat a rock. She was like, seriously, what do you want? And I was like, a rock. And she's like, this is your last chance before, like, you get no options. And I was like, my option is that I want a rock, Mom. And so, you know, I'm vibing. And granted, my preschool is literally down the street. Like, I could walk there in, like, a minute. It's that close by, right? And so, like, I'm vibing, brushing my teeth, because I was in the middle of, like, eating breakfast and whatever. So I'm vibing, I get to school, chilling, and then lunch rolls around, and she put a big-ass rock in a Ziploc bag. Well, I was laughing hysterically, and, like, all of the staff members were like, what the fuck is that?
You're like, it's a rock. What?
Yeah.
You ever go outside?
Yeah, I was my mom packed me a rock.
Just...
That's so funny.
You mean your parents never packed you a rock?
What, you've never seen a quality 5-star lunch before?
Exactly. But no, I just think it's really funny that, like, some of the punishments she did were just like, if you're gonna be stupid, you're gonna get something stupid.
That's so funny.
My mom did have her moments where she'd, like, straight up, like, do really unfair punishments, right? I remember, I forget why, but I was freaking the hell out about this movie that my sister and my mom wanted to watch, and apparently I was freaking out so much. It was like, my mom was like, you need to calm down. This really isn't that big of a deal, so I'm putting you in timeout. And I was freaking crying and yelling, and then the next thing I know, my mom's like, hey, like, get up, you're good, you're good, go. And I was like, what? And come to realize, she had forgotten about me, and I had been there for like 2-3 hours watching that movie. She's like, you're fine, just go. What I will say is my mom was always super, super clever, because her timeout spots always happened to be by, like, this little vent thing. And essentially, I think our house was made in, like, the 80s, and so this house has, like, this little plug-in thing to the wall for, like, some sort of vacuum clip thing. And essentially, there are a few of those around the house that are all connected. And so my mom would sit us by those things, and essentially, we would play a game of telephone. And so, essentially, she did freaking, like, mental gymnastics, because all of the fights usually involved fights with each other. And so, essentially, she made us make up on our own by, like, making us talk to each other, making us think we had the option of talking to each other or just sitting there quietly alone. And so, I didn't know that until recently that she did that on purpose. But
that's funny.
Yes, that was very, very clever on my mom's part.
Brandon, how about you? What did your parents do to you?
So, if I'm being entirely honest, like, there's definitely stuff that, like, I
You have a third wheel, Brandon. Nope. This means you have nothing. Nothing to contribute. Third wheel.
No, that is not true at all, actually. I mean, yeah, I did, I mean, as I've said in like previous stories, I've just was kind of a child that kept to myself and stuff, and I didn't really like get in as much trouble as I probably normally would have, especially since my sister, she definitely took up a lot of my parents' time and stuff, so I wasn't even really around them a lot. But
So
You
your
trying to say-
punishment was you were forgotten. That was your punishment.
Your punishment was your
I
sister?
guess you
Is
could-
that what you're
I
trying
don't
to
know.
say?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Your sister
But,
took up all the attention. So
I will say, I definitely, I got my ass beat. Like, I got spankings when I absolutely deserved them. But one of the
Spankings.
ones that I really remember, it was so simple too, yet so effective. Was like before my mom and dad separated. This was like I was like less than 6. Like I'll go with 5. Um, Whenever I did do something, like I remember there was this one time where uh I had I'd gotten in trouble for saying a few, curse words and stuff like that, but ass was one that I had not learned that was a swear word. So there's just one day I was just sitting on my mom's bed with her watching TV, or she was off doing chores or something like that, and I was watching TV, and we were talking about like playing a board game or a game or something like that, and I thought saying ass would be really make me sound really cool. I didn't think it was a swear word, so I was like, I'm gonna kick your ass.
With
You're
zero
so bad,
context,
Brandon.
did you just walk into a room and say, "I'm gonna kick your ass, mom"? Was there more context to that, or did you just storm into the room and say that?
No, I just straight up we had decided like, okay, we're gonna play a game. So then there's a few moments of silence. I was like,
Oh,
Mom, I'm gonna
okay.
kick you.
Okay, you had decided you were gonna play a game. I just like for me, I don't know why I didn't hear that part. I just heard you guys were watching a movie, and then you just looked at her and went, "Mom, I'm gonna kick your ass."
Well,
The
because we
irony
talked about
is-
the game thing, like, and there was a good chunk of silence in between, so it was still just kind of in the middle of silence. I was just like,
The funniest part is that was your sister's first swear word too. She also told your mom that she was gonna kick her ass.
she heard
The
Brandon
question is,
down the
who was
stairs and
they?
was just like, "Wow, my brother is so cool."
well, anyways, though, but a lot of the time, again, the punishment was so simple yet so effective. I mean, I went to my room, but I was dumb and I just kind of stood at the door, and I mean, I got sent to my room a few times, except for the thing that I would do, which really annoying to me now that I think about it. But if it was like my dad who sent me to my room, I would just kind of like they leave the door open, and but I would not dare try to sneak out of my room. Like I would literally just stand at the edge of the door, and again, it would depend who sent me to my room. So if it was my dad, I'd just go there and go, Mom!
Bruh,
And
Mom,
really out here looking for a loophole.
Mom.
and then And then, if it was my mom that sent me to my room, I'd just be like, Dad! Dad!
I like how you're just trying to go to the opposite parent to try and get it's like going to a different judge to appeal.
I just love the idea of baby Brandon sitting in front of an open door, just going, "Mom." like kind of like the distance echo thing. It's like,
It would always be because if it was like my mom who sent me to my room, it would always be because like my dad was at work. So even if he wasn't in the house, I would just be like, Dad. Then he would get home, and then he would walk up to me and he'd just look at me like, buddy.
"What are you doing?"
Yeah,
Like,
what
like-
you do?
What you doing?
And then the same thing with my mom. If she was like at the store or something, it was my dad who sent me to my room. She'd get home and be like, "Buddy."
The mutual understanding that like you're supposed to be there, but you're still calling for help anyway.
I don't know why, but that aspect of you just kind of like sitting there and crying out makes you just are my cat. My cat, when someone leaves the room, will just be like, "Ah!" And then when someone walks in, there's nothing going on. He's just chilling. As soon as you leave again, "Ah!" Just be like, "What do you want?" Just not moving, not getting anyone's attention, just waiting till someone comes and does whatever they want. Like
Yeah,
some kind of weird king.
yeah.
Damn, that's funny.
Yeah. I remember too. Then, like, after they separated, I can't remember if I've mentioned it before, but
They're
my
divorced.
stepmom. Well, that's not what I was gonna mention, but yeah.
Divorce!
Um, my stepmom's mother she has a ranch in Petaluma where they lived in
I
before.
think that was like briefly mentioned.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, with the
Yeah,
painting
but
that you
yeah.
just
oh
showed.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That is
hang
right.
on,
Yep.
hang on a second.
Yep.
Hang on, because every time I heard that clip, every time I'm going to edit the podcast, it's that clip of you saying a ranch down in Petaluma, and I don't know why, but it's so funny to me. I think it's the way you say it that makes it so funny to me, or maybe the fact that I've heard you say it so many times because of me recording and editing stuff. But every time, it's just a ranch down in Petaluma, and it just kills me. I don't know why. Anyways, tell your story.
So like we'd go down there a lot of weekends for some time, just I don't know, just cause to visit my step grandma or like just to do work around the ranch and stuff like that. And I can't remember. This was definitely a day where uh we were doing yard work, and I haven't been down to that ranch in like years. It's been over like 7 years, I think. So I had to have been like 9 or 10, I think. I want to say. Um, but yeah, we were just doing work one day, and just out in the yard, and I was fed up. I don't remember what I think I was. I mean, obviously, I was just having not a great day, and I just did not feel like doing yard work at that time, and I was like, I and yeah, I mean, obviously, like my dad and stepmom were getting pretty annoyed about me complaining, understandably, and my dumbass is like, I would rather eat broccoli and cheese instead of doing yard work. And then they were like, okay, get out. I was like, wait, what? They're like, all right, you don't know, just if you don't have to work anymore, just go inside. I was like, oh, okay. So, I'm going inside, like I I I'm going inside thinking like, huh, that was easy.
Wow,
They don't even know the brain
you
move.
really are a dumbass. You walked in there just being like, I win. I did it. I
Bruh.
found the secret. I threatened to eat, and they were like, oh, sorry.
They don't even know the big brain move you just pulled right there, Brandon.
They
No.
didn't know that I'm 2 steps ahead.
So you know, I guess what we had for dinner that night, or it was one of the main.
They made you eat a goddamn tree, not just
Well,
broccoli. They made you
the
eat a
thing
tree.
was like, no, the thing like I'll eat broccoli, like I'll like I mean yeah, there was certain vegetables as a kid that I didn't refuse to eat, but broccoli I was generally accepting of, like, but it had to be like on its own. And
I agree.
No, the
Anybody
way
that adds anything to broccoli is a sinner.
Like ranch.
Disgusting. Yeah, no ranch, no fucking cheese fondue crap. I don't know why people will add cheese onto their vegetables and still think it's healthy.
but
Ranch is good. I like ranch.
the way that they made this broccoli with cheese, it was basically broccoli just soaked in melted cheese, like a nacho cheese texture.
Yep.
And oh my god, like I was so repulsed. It was so hard to choke down, and I was just like, oh, and you know what? I gotta say, it worked because the whole time I was like, why? Why did I say that? Like, well, why did I say that?
I don't know about you guys, but I've had that before. That's not bad at all in my opinion.
It's not that it's bad. It's just, first of all, I just have a preference towards having everything plain. That's just who I am.
Yeah,
But
that's
like,
fair.
also, you can't say you have a well-balanced diet when you smother the one healthy thing in something unhealthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why like broccoli is, I think it's totally fine with like ranch and whatnot, especially like your healthier, not like just grab off the shelf ranch.
Yeah.
Like your organic ranch. That's where it's really pristine. But it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, I can't seem to find like the urge to eat like any greens just plain, other than like a carrot because it has like juices in it. I mean, all of them do, but like I don't eat just salad with I don't just chew on the lettuce. So
Yeah, my thing is that yeah, I am a very plain person. Like I just like stuff plain. Like I like chocolate chip cookies and brownies plains. If you put nuts in them, then I don't appreciate that. But
that's
but
just
the thing
that's
is,
Duly
just,
noted.
yeah.
it was a combination of that and like
Wait, Brandon, I just
I
realized.
like cheese.
Are you homophobic?
What?
You don't like nuts.
Okay, let's no.
The
no,
fact that you said
that's not what
the fact
that
that you
is.
said what it really concerns
Um anyways, but I just like I like cheese. Just I definitely just there's something about nacho cheese and the texture that I just cannot deal with, and that's just I mean that I know that's just kind of a me thing. Like I mean like I know there's people who like it and stuff. That's just personally for me. Like I do not like nacho cheese, and honestly like just the combination of the two, like I mean that's probably why I said I would rather eat that than work, because in my mind I was like, yeah, no, I'd hate to eat that, but of course I like blurted it out. Like
Brandon orders nachos and tells them to hold the cheese and just starts eating chips out of it.
like, literally like if I was like there's I've gone to just like a couple baseball games like with my parents and stuff, and if we did order nachos, I would just
Weird
literally
flex.
eat the chips, or I would like or what I would do, I would just slightly dip the edge of the chip into the nacho cheese
Me?
just to say like I can get, just so I could say that I used it a little bit, but then I would just
Literally
eat
me.
the, eat
I
the
could
chip.
not be the more polar opposite of you in that situation. I hate messy foods, so when it comes to nachos, like I love it being a chip that is basically losing its chipness because the cheese has just made it all like floppy or whatever.
Oh,
So
I hate that.
I will eat the nachos when they're like, I will eat them with like a fork because I hate messy.
Dude,
And
I'm disgusted. Soggy chips. It's the one thing I hate about nachos.
I hate when they're at the point where they're like super soggy. When they're at
Yeah.
that point when they're soggy enough to where if I put my fork in it, it doesn't crack in half, but not at the point where I pick it up with my fork and it just rips in half because of how soggy it is.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't like eating messy foods or whatever, so that's why I won't just like take the whole chip and just throw it in my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a weird person, Brandon. I guess in this case, I'm the weird person.
You're the third wheel, you could say.
Well, in all other aspects, I'm a very bland eater as well, but I guess just not to the extent that you guys are. But Grace, you said you had other instances.
Uh,
Do you
Yeah,
remember
right,
them?
we're
Or?
talking about.
Yeah, we gotta get there's a topic. We don't stay on it often, but it's there. It's kind of
Yeah.
a backbone for us. We say it at the beginning and then we just do whatever.
We go where the wind takes us.
At
But
some point we will talk about this thing, and it's the title of the episode. But you don't know what we're gonna talk about.
I don't know.
that's the fun.
I don't know.
Anyways, Grace, you had other things you had to say.
Yes. So the thing about my mom is she absolutely hated for me to miss out on experiences. And so she was never the type of parent to say, like, you can't go, right?
Yeah.
So essentially what she would do is, I don't know how it worked every single time, but essentially she'd be like, well, you're not going. Because, like, I would always get stressed out and give her attitude right before, because we were always the type of people to be, like, either exactly on time or slightly late, and that would make me anxious.
Me.
Yeah, I'm either early or really, really late. No in between. But,
Yes.
but essentially, yeah, my mom I would give her attitude and she would not be having it because, I didn't have my license, so she had to go with me, right? So
Yeah.
she wouldn't be having it. She'd be like, well, now you're not going at all. And so I would just stop getting ready. I'd be like, fine. And I'd sit in my room and I'd do something else. Right? Flash forward to like 10 minutes later and she'd angrily walk in and she'd be like, put your damn shoes on. Right? And so essentially, I guess the punishment is that she would just make me late everywhere. But I remember the one time she followed through, right? The one time she actually followed through was the first time she ever pulled that. And that was when I was around first or second grade. I didn't go out much because I didn't have that many friends, but I had this friend who we'll call, what's a good name?
Dylan. Dylan.
No,
Dylan.
female name.
Dylan. That's a female name.
Whatever, we're gonna call this person Trish, right?
I like Diletta. Diletta's funny.
I hate Trish now with a passion.
I'm going to write the name Diletta down for future reference.
Yeah, for reference, Trish is in a lot of my stories growing up. She was a very good friend to me. Well, we were good friends. She was not a good friend to me. She was very toxic, and I cut off the relationship because her mom called me ableist, and I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" Yeah, essentially, yeah. She was diagnosed with like high functioning autism or something. And essentially, I said she was being really childish over something. And she made such an inaccurate comparison of saying how people with autism are childish and how I was ableist for that. And I was like, that is not at all how you describe people with autism. You're the ableist one, Jesus.
Yeah, that's typically how that works.
Anyway, I think the reason I was so offended too is because I also have disabilities, and I'm pretty sure I'm on the autism spectrum. I just haven't been diagnosed. So that's why I was offended. But whatever. That's not important. Anyway, Trish, she sucks. But every single year, we had a tradition that we would go to the pumpkin patch together, right? Because there was a pumpkin patch right down the road from my house next to a strawberry patch. And those two things together were just bomb. We loved them. And so...
Lovely.
Yeah, we would go to the pumpkin patch every year and we would pick out our favorite. There was obviously tractor rides and these huge tire swings. And that was my favorite part, the tire swings. And obviously, as you can gather, it had to do with my attitude, right? So we stopped for lunch first and my sister was there because my mom was just there to drop off. And then Trish's mom was going to take us to the pumpkin patch. But, yeah, essentially, we had lunch first. I was given too much attitude, especially in front of Trish's mom. And so my mom was like, you're not going. And I was like, fine, be that way. But you know what? I didn't expect her to follow through. But you know what? Even if I had gone home, that would have been fine. The real kicker is she made my sister go instead.
Damn.
My sister doesn't like Trish. in the slightest. Like
Oh
she
my god.
she hates
Damn, so
Chris. So like
you
not
got
only
your
is this a
sister
punishment for
punished
me,
in
it's
your
a
place.
punishment for my
Yeah.
sister.
That's so funny. Your punishment was layered and so that everyone would be annoyed at you.
Yeah.
That's so
And then
funny.
I think my sister had like a decent enough time. We never fully went into it. My sister likes to bring this up every once in a while because she thinks she hasn't told me, but she has, but she keeps forgetting and then she tells me again. But I remember the next time we had a fight, the first thing she threw at me was like, "Yeah, well, remember when I went to the pumpkin patch with Trish?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, Trish told me that she likes me better than you." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay, buddy." And then Trish went ahead and was like, "No, I was just making her feel better," but I knew she was full of it. She totally meant it in the moment.
Yeah, I'm
She
sure.
was just a horrible person. But I just remember my mom actually following through. The problem, like, I get it. I was like a jerk, and so I would have been fine not going. I think I was just pissed off that my mom made my sister go. It wasn't even like giving the option for my sister to go. She's like, "Madeline, you're going now.
Yeah.
You're going now." And I was just kind of like sitting there at home, pouting, very, very upset.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, that was the one time my mom followed through.
Yeah,
But
Damn.
yeah.
yeah,
See,
really upsetting.
for me, it's like I don't. I know like as a child growing up with that middle school angst of just not liking just not liking
Bruh.
my parents being around or doing whatever just kind of existed in me in general, and like yeah, I got physical punishments here and there, I got other punishments or whatnot, but I'm gonna reiterate the fact that I was such a smartass when it came to like dealing with my parents depending on like whatever I did. And the reason like I don't have any like I don't know, I would guess creative punishments that my parents did is because they probably tried so many different things with me that just never worked and that I just never remembered because they didn't work. Like I every single time there would be an instance in which I would get punished, it would just be me doing my best to wheedle my way out of it in the midst of that punishment being given. And I would always always being an asshole. I tried to test the limits of which things happen. Like Brandon, you said that like sometimes you would just like try and like do whatever to see if you can like get away with getting out of your room or whatnot. There was a moment where like instantly I was sent to my room. I set down like whatever was in my hand, walked back out into the kitchen where we had this argument, grabbed food, and went back into my room with my fuming mom still in the kitchen. I said nothing. I looked her dead in the eyes on my way there and went back to my room and proceeded to eat like dinner that I made myself while watching on Netflix on my computer. It's how much of an ass I was when it came to doing stuff like
Yeah,
that. She didn't say a word because she was so fucking. She was gonna murder me right then and there. She just didn't do anything about it. But I was always
oh
just
man.
such an asshole when it came to punishments and would try
I,
to just like wiggle my way out of them almost immediately.
I gotta say, I had me and my sister both did this actually. Um, I don't know. I don't think she picked it up from me. It was just, it's just something we did. But um, again, this was like before, like pre, like we were in our single digit years old or whatever, so we were fairly younger doing this.
Little young lad and lass.
Yes, exactly. Um, but once I kind of grew out of the whole just like yelling for help, like not yelling, but mom, dad, like that whole thing, like, I did get to a point where like I wasn't brave enough to just outright just walk out and stuff, but my old Folsom house, like it was 2 stories, and my room was basically the way it like that house layout kind of was like but I mean all that you really need to know for this bit is that there's the living room, and then there's like a little bit. There's like about 5 stairs going up to this dining room area. Then the kitchen was adjacent to it, and then like right around the corner from those stairs was the main like go upstairs going to the rooms. So that meant that there was a little just kind of I don't know what you would call it, but you could basically see the upstairs. There's just a gate basically dividing it that where you could just kind of look over and you could see the living room and stuff like that. There's just like a hole in the wall. So
It's just a hole in the wall.
what I would do is if I was to get sent to my room, there was a point where I was brave enough to just kind of, I did the whole like army crawl on my stomach thing, and just to kind of look through the fence gate that was on the top of the stairs to look to see what my mom or what people were doing in the living room. And I would just kind of, start like peering my head around the fence thing, and if my mom started to look over, I'd go, oh, go back, and she'd go, Brandon? I'd be like, okay. I think the funny thing was that my sister did the exact same thing, and it was even funnier because I was on the other end where I was. If my sister had got sent to her room, if my sister had got sent to her room, I would just kind of like, every now and then just look up at the top of the stairs, and there'd be nothing, and then I would look away. Then the second I looked back, you could just see her head just go, whoa.
Did your sister ever scream, Brandon?
You know what? I don't. I'm trying to think. I think she did, but
I feel
not
like the hesitation says it
her.
all, cause
her that period for her did not last as long as it did for me. I think she learned more quick than I did about it.
Okay. I think what we're just learning here is that Grace and I growing up were just kind of insensitive. We just kind of like didn't care. I definitely like I guess really what I'm saying here is that being bullied for 4 years really put into perspective that, it's really important to not be an asshole. I guess that was just karma coming around and kicking me on my ass repetitively.
Good punishments build character.
Well, I guess, but like those punishments didn't come from my parents. My parents didn't bully me, but it's like, I always tested the limits, no matter what it was. I wanted to find where the boundaries were to see what I could get away with. Still, I wanted to like develop this thing in my head on like a gauge on where my mom was at most of the times to figure out like, all right, what else can I do here? What's a no and what is a go, and I'm gonna do that.
The thing is, I always knew where the line was. I just didn't really care.
I would every day there was a new line because I would always try and play something else. The gauge changed every day with every new punishment. I would be like, all right, but is this the same line as yesterday? Can I get away with this now? No. Okay. Well, that's a new line.
What I can honestly say though is my mom was just always really, really funny with punishments, and so even though they sucked, you just kind of have to laugh at like, yeah, those are really creative.
Yeah.
Along with the push-up thing, my mom.
The push-up thing is awesome.
My mom, along with push-ups, she also used to make us walk up and down the stairs, but so like we'd have to do it like 15 times. But the thing is walking downstairs doesn't count. It only counts when you go back up. But every time you give her lip, you get like another 5 added on. And so my brother ended up getting around like 40 or 45.
That's awesome.
And I remember his legs hurt so bad the next morning he couldn't walk. It was really, really funny.
Your mom's just looking out for your guys' physical well-being.
Yeah, she's like, hell yeah, if you're going to be punished, we're going to use fitness.
I raised athletes, all right?
Which is very ironic for a family full of daisy pickers.
That's funny, yeah.
which is a reference from the last episode.
You should go listen to that.
Exactly.
Actually, 2 episodes ago,
Shut
technically.
up!
No one asked.
I'm just
If it's on
saying.
the last episode, they can go find it.
Just saying.
Anyways, I think that there's like only one instance in which like I tried to run away, but I also like didn't do the thing where I like said anything about it. I think I just like grabbed stuff and walked out the door, turned around, and I guess no one had noticed that I left and was just like, okay. And then I kept walking down. I walked down to the end of the street, and what's really funny about this story is that I walked down to the end of the street, and then I turned and I started walking. There's like I don't know. It's like I guess 5 miles to the freeway because we live right off of it. We live on a road right off of it. So like if I wanted to, theoretically, I could just walk to the highway. It would take a while, but I could get there. I had made it like half the distance when a truck comes by with like my both of my parents in it and one of my siblings, and they stop and they're just like, what the hell are you doing? No one was home except for my brother. That's why no one noticed me just walk out of the house. And so I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm go for a walk, and my mom was like, get in the fucking car, and took me back home. And it's like, I didn't realize that they had left because I had had an argument like with my mom, like I guess an hour beforehand, and I guess that she left to go pick up my brother from something. I think she was picking him up from like a band thing or something or whatever, and they had left like immediately after that, which is why I was so goddamn confused why they had beat me to the freeway, why they were just there. But yeah, I think that's like the only instance in which I was just like, I'm gonna do this, and then kept going, and then was just like, oh, you guys weren't home to see my dramatic exit. All right, that's fine. I was really disappointed.
Damn.
So, on to the final question. Based off of your parents' punishments, do you think that you guys would use similar punishments with your own children?
No.
Oh.
No. Not to be like that guy, but I know for a fact that I'm never gonna hit one of my kids. If I have kids, I'm not gonna lay a hand on them in that way. Because I don't want them to learn the lesson that like it's okay to like or to expect to be hit when they did something wrong or expect that kind of like action, and I 100% want them to know that I didn't hit them out of anger either. Like it would, if I were to do it, it would be like, you need to understand that this is disciplinary and not out of my anger. And so for that reason specifically, there's no like method of just being like, I'm gonna hit you later. So I don't think I'm gonna ever like actually resort to like a physical punishment. I'll probably take the route of Grace's mom and be very creative because I can't be creative.
I don't know. I think it's really, really weird because there have been times where, like, I've been like slapped across the face, but the reality is I feel like sometimes it's a necessary evil, and it's so hard to like even bring it up in conversation these days because everything is like so black and white now. Everything is so PC. There's no even discussing it. One thing I will say that I really want to carry over into my parenting style is if my child is like terrible to other people, like their siblings, like their extended family, friends, classmates, whatever, I am totally 100% down to give them nothing but coal for Christmas. Like, I give zero
I think
fucks.
that's
Like,
fantastic.
I will literally wrap 20 individual gifts, each with coal in it. That way, they will just slowly hope one of them has to like have some sort of gift inside. But nope, it's the gift of karma, bitch.
What about you, Brandon? What are you gonna take away from your parents, or maybe just not do ever?
Well, I absolutely agree with like the not going the physical punishment route.
Yeah.
Then again, I mean, I feel like, obviously, when the time comes, I know I'll think of like a good punishment that's not, because then my only thing is like, if I'm just gonna strictly stay away from physical, you also kind of have to make sure, it's not like something that's gonna completely like psychologically like torment that
All right.
like
Well,
overdoing
yeah.
it in that realm. So like,
I would like to clarify for viewers at home, I am not pro child abuse. I just think that like if your kid does something so absolutely horrendous to the point where it's like they're so smug they feel no remorse for what they did and there's absolutely nothing else you could do, then it's not off the table.
right.
It's not a
Yeah.
starting point. It's like the end, very last resort.
That's your
Right.
last straw kind of aspect. That shouldn't be a first
Yeah, I
resort.
definitely agree with what you were saying about like them needing to know it's coming from a place of discipline and not anger. That's a
Right.
really, really good point.
Mm-hmm. Nah, I also just know that I'm gonna make sure that like I'm able to have a relationship with my parents because I know what? That my kids will be able to have a relationship with me. I don't. Ooh, I had struggled.
Wow.
Anyways, I know that I know that like growing up mainly without my dad for a while, having him just kind of appear occasionally, and like the excitement to see him when he would come home is like a really bittersweet memory to think about because I remember being super excited to do anything with my dad, but that's because I rarely got to see him. And as well as that made like as I was happy to see him and I'm sure that he enjoyed them being happy to see me, like I don't want that. I don't want it to be like they're happy to see me because I'm not around, or if like just because someone else isn't around. I wouldn't want to do anything where I'm just like not there because then that resorts into me having a way better relationship with my mom than my dad. And when my dad and I get into disputes, it doesn't end the same way as it will with my mom. My mom and I have been able to develop a similar page as to where where each person's coming from and their limits and whatnot, and how everything works, and how to communicate and how to say things without triggering something in the other person. My dad and I never got that developed, and we get at it sometimes when we argue. We haven't in a while, and it's awesome. But like if we have those instances, we just go at it, and it's not fun. It's definitely not because those things are like instances in which Brandon you said create those like psychological things. Like
Mhm.
once you hit that middle school angst, which is inevitable, all teens in general, and once they hit that like middle school to early high school era, will just not like their parents. That's kind of just how it works. They will like you less. They might still like you, but they will like you less. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
And especially when you don't have that relationship with your parents, you go from not liking them to slowly beginning to like hate slash despise them, and that's not a good
Yeah,
area. So
definitely. I've seen
that's
it like
yeah.
firsthand. Like my cousins absolutely despise my aunt because she was way too strict growing up. And it's just really sad to see. I feel like parenting really takes like it really takes the right balance of being your friend and being a parent. Because you can
Yeah.
never be too much of one, you know?
Right. I hate parents who are just like, I'm your buddy. It's like, no, you're not. You're not 16.
Yeah.
I hate you. Like
Yeah.
parents
Bruh.
that appear on Dr. Phil that are just like, oh yeah, I drink and smoke with my 14-year-old
Yeah.
daughter all the time. It's like, what is
Bruh,
wrong
what's that
with
meme?
you?
What's that meme like Toby 3-year-old alcoholic? Like,
Yeah.
bruh, there's no way that could have been Toby. It was you.
No, it absolutely disgusts me because it's just like, what happened to you that you're doing this to that person? Why do you hate your child or hate some other, like maybe your mom, and
Yeah.
raising this monster? People don't get on this TV show because they're cool guys. That's not what you're here for. You're here because someone thinks you need help. And I mean, Dr. Phil obviously isn't the way of solving problems, because that just makes the
Absolutely
entire
not.
internet laugh at
It
you.
just makes it worse most of the time.
Oh, it's great, and it's so great entertainment, but it solves absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Brandon, what about you? Your last thoughts before we wrap up?
On what you guys were just talking about, or the actual topic?
Honestly,
Well,
you
talk-
could say whatever.
And we'll go along with it.
Just like
Um,
apart from like the punishing aspects, just like what's the thing that like you kind of want to focus on as a parent?
um, dang.
Wow, we gave
Well,
you so much time to think about it.
well, you know,
We stalled for you and
honestly,
everything. That's what we were doing,
oh,
clearly.
because obviously I knew I was gonna get asked this question. I mean, if I'm being honest, like, I feel like a lot of like, I mean, obviously, I'm not a parent. I can't really like,
Wait.
say, but I feel like,
Congratulations. Pretend you were and continue.
um, um, but like, I honestly feel like a lot of that stuff, just as far as your relationship with your child and discipline, or just other, just not even just discipline, but other aspects, it's kind of just circumstantial to what kind of personality they have, or just who they are. Because I mean,
Yeah, that's really important.
it's obvious. It's just kind of an adapt, and whatever clicks, and like, because yeah.
Yeah, it's really important to like raise them as individuals. And though it might seem unfair during childhood, you need to grow up and realize you're punishing different children who view the world very differently and view punishments very, very differently.
Right.
Right, not everything works for every single person, and that's something that kids growing up don't understand. As far as like you did this for them. It's like, yeah, you're not that person.
Yeah, no, my mom did that method and it really worked. I mean, my siblings are still upset about it, but I personally think it worked really, really well. But Brandon doesn't love his kids because he said that he would let them ride dirt bikes.
You know what? That's a whole different conversation, but it's because
Anyway, so we'd like to wrap up the show by saying that if you want to be a guest on the Third Wheel podcast, on whatever podcast streaming platform you're listening in on,
Rah.
there is our Third Wheel podcast email attached. Just send us an email, make it look professional, talk about like what your topic would be, how you would contribute, and why you would be a good addition to the episode that we would have you on.
Yes, because otherwise I won't read it.
Yes, most definitely. If you're not professional, Steven will immediately junk mail it.
And it's so funny to do.
He has no remorse. He does not care.
I really don't. I could not care less. Anyways, I'll wrap this back, and because I think it's funny and he doesn't like it, Brandon,
no.
what do you think the third wheel of the episode is today, buddy? It's funny, and you're gonna do it.
What if I decide that I want to wait till I'm
I
the
think
last
the
person?
last episode
Then
I
I
said
can-
if you abstain from voting, I'm going to
I'm
make you
not
the third wheel.
abstaining. I just don't want to go first this time.
I
Well,
will
you
go
need to.
first.
All right, Grace.
All right. Unshockingly, I think that like last episode, this one was also really close because I feel like we all had a lot to contribute because this is kind of like a universal experience we have as children. No matter like what household you grow up in, you're always punished for stuff. Unless you're on wife swap, but different conversation. I think personally, I'm gonna have to say Brandon. I feel like Steven legit got beat. Like I had to do physical punishments, but you were like, Mom! Like, Mom! You were literally like sitting in your room. And honestly, I don't think that's a good punishment. I'm sorry. Like, there's so much crap in your room you could have been doing. Like, if you hadn't been screaming for your mom, you could have been like reading a book, you could have been drawing pictures, like, you could have been productive, but you chose not to be.
Damn.
And so I think you're the third wheel, Brandon.
Rest in peace, bro. Do you have
Okay.
a response, or do you want to go last? Alrighty. Well,
Not even gonna defend himself.
yeah, he's just gonna take the punches and sit in his room crying.
Damn it!
Oh my god.
Okay, so this makes this really funny because you going last means that it doesn't matter. Brandon, unfortunately,
You know what?
I think that it's you. And the reason I think that it's you is because I am probably going to take after Grace's mom and my parenting strategies of being the
Absolutely.
most creative disciplinarian that has ever existed. And
Hmm.
that's why I just think that's why I think Grace can't be the third wheel, because I want to be I want to do the same thing that Grace's mom just said. I almost said I want to be your mom.
That's a little.
But
That's
I
kind of
want to I
funny.
want to do a lot of the same things that Grace's mom did, because while they're not physical, they're still really taxing and get the point across. Because if I am late because of your bickering, because you took too long to do push-ups on the side of the road, because you know I'm gonna be in the car like, hurry the
Yeah.
fuck up, 5 more, but hurry up. Like that's just phenomenal. And
Yeah.
as far as in my aspect, I just feel like I don't have many more stories other than like actually like getting hit or whatnot, because I just feel like I was just too much of a smart ass to realize that some things were punishments at some points in time. Like I just took everything like
Yeah.
super lightly until I realized that no, I'm just being an asshole. I got punished a lot because I was an asshole of a child.
Can
So
I
yeah.
assume that your favorite punishment was the push-up one?
Yeah, that's so funny. That's so funny. That's amazing. Yeah, but yeah, that's it for me, because also like you said, like Ray said, your stories of far as like how you were punished were just kind of like, other than like when you said that you got your ass beat a few times, punishing a child with making them eat food that they don't like, it just doesn't seem like a punishment to me, because that's a one and done thing of like, oh no, if I speak up they're gonna melt some cheese on my broccoli. Like,
Yeah, honestly, that
ow.
doesn't even seem like a punishment. That just seems like you're a child. Like honestly, if you're that pathetic that you can't like actually discipline them, you just gotta make them like really, really uncomfortable. That's kind of childish. It's a
Yeah.
little petty.
That's just my bit. I feel like if they were gonna not make you do yard work, I feel like a better thing. Like I do
You
give
don't
them a
want to
round of
do
applause.
child labor. Hate
I
something
do.
you hate.
I do applaud them for just being like, all right, well, if you don't want to, if that's what you'd rather do, then
Yeah,
actually doing that. But then I would have made you go finish it afterwards as well. I
yeah.
would have sent you back outside to go
No,
finish the work.
definitely. I feel like there was a better way, like Steven's way. Like just go do it again.
Yeah, I would, yeah, make you finish eating food, and then you would go do that thing, and you weren't allowed to leave the table until you were done eating your thing. But then also, you're going straight outside after you're done eating and finishing
God,
the
I
thing.
I remember the reason my mom didn't make that a punishment for us is because she used to stay at her kitchen table until like midnight
Oh yeah, you
with
just had to
with
wait.
my grandma watching her.
Dang.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, not that it matters unless you vote for yourself. What do you think?
Um. Yeah, not gonna lie. Part of the reason I wanted to go last this time is because I'm not really surprised. Kind of saw this one coming.
So does that mean you're
And
voting yourself?
that being said,
Oh.
yeah, I'm not
Oh.
I'm not
Oh.
really pressed about the results because yeah, that's kind of saw that one coming. So
So
yeah, it's fair.
what's your statement? You didn't say anything yet.
Um, yeah, I mean that yeah, like
You gonna
yeah,
vote for yourself, buddy?
Grace's punishments. Yeah, I mean that
Are
I
you
gotta
voting? Are
give
you
it to her
voting
mom.
yourself?
Yeah, that was pretty funny, Steven. Yeah, I mean you both. To be fair, you both yeah just had
We went through it just in very, very different ways.
This is probably the
yeah.
most drawn out way of saying you vote yourself, and you're the second unanimously voted. This is the second time you've been unanimously voted the third wheel.
Is it?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the first episode was the
First
first time.
episode was
You're
you.
Yeah, and now it's you again. I think it's like what is
No,
this?
it's just kidding. It's Steven. I'm actually fun.
I
It's
wonder
Steven.
if I wonder if any of our parents are gonna listen to this podcast and be like, "How come we're like the only topics?"
No, I did like
Stop
find
picking
a
your parents.
I found a theme. It's just like Race the last couple times has been parent related. Brandon the last couple time has been like, I don't know, kind of school related
Elementary.
elementary school related, and mine has been relationships. So there's been a reoccurring thing, and it speaks about our past in a very silent way because we have more stories about them. So yeah, if we have a topic coming up, just know it's because that time period apparently was very traumatizing for us. There was something there that just needs to resurface again.
Oh my god.
You know what? I will do my best to think of a topic that's not school related.
I mean, you can do whatever because
I
it's your
mean-
topic.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's up to
matter.
you. As long as it's
I-
not the same. Because if it's the same topic, I'm gonna make fun of you for it.
All right, guys, we're
I
gonna
mean,
do a
unless
little bit of combination of the
unless
playground, like
unless you
school dance.
emphasize that we're doing
Doing a
like
part
a part
two.
two, yeah. Like how we still need to do a part 2 for the gym one down the line sometime. Not
I don't
sometime
have any
soon.
other stories. I hope there isn't a part 2.
There's gonna be a part 2.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I agree. There's gonna be a part 2. It's definitely not gonna be next week though.
Crap.
I think-
We'll figure it out. We'll find methods for it. So there'll be a part 2 for a very long time because it's been like a week, 2 weeks when you hear this episode that episode's been out. So
No.
you should go check it out. It's called I've taken it back to the playground. That's what it's called. I quoted you, Grace, because I thought it was funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you were just like, I see, we're kicking it back to the playground, and I was like, you know what? Since I can't come up with anything other than physical education for the title, I'm gonna use that. So
Really?
how boring is an episode to click on that's just called PE?
The physical education of
Yeah.
the elementary schooler.
The traumatizing life of Brandon just drop kicking balls on other guys.
Brandon getting pantsed, Brandon getting kicked in the balls, Brandon kicking other people's balls.
Brandon reciprocating that. God damn.
Literally.
Yeah. Well, Brandon unanimously decided a second time. How does that make you feel? Since you voted yourself.
I mean, yeah, like I said, fair.
I'm sorry your parents were kind to you.
I think you know what it is. It's because
You were a good
I
child.
learned my lesson early, and
Well,
Oh,
good for
you're
you.
such a
we'll
good
call
boy.
it that.
Wait, that's a good
The
boy.
only
He
point.
didn't you mention in a previous episode you used to hide notes from your mom too?
There, we can
Okay,
discuss
but that
in
wasn't
another
me getting
episode.
like punished though.
Why
That
did you
was
get
me
punished
like.
for that?
I mean, I did, but I don't remember honestly.
Anyway,
I
Brandon's
know
the
there's stuff
third
that's just a
wheel.
matter of memory.
Don't forget to follow us on social media since we have that now.
I
We'd
would
love to hear
yeah.
from you. Do not send us a DM asking to be a guest. However, if you do want to recommend possible topics that you guys are interested in, please do send them our way. We'll look them over, think them over. And whoever's the third wheel that week, if they think it's funny enough, sure, I'm sure they'll pick it. But
DM
yeah,
them to the Instagram though. Do not DM
not
us
our individual
individually.
accounts, please.
We have an Instagram for that purpose, so you guys can add us. It's at @third_wheel_podcast. Go follow us.
Exactly.
We'll
Make
get-
sure to clarify who specifically you want to talk. Who specifically, which host you want to talk about that specific
It's
topic.
true. Also, I would just like to clarify that Brandon saying that he learned his lesson early does not contribute to the lore that Brandon's dad has secretly been trying to kill him, because I'm sure that Brandon had done enough things that his dad was just secretly plotting and was just like, no, it's not the right time yet. So don't let that distract you from the lore.
That's a weird theory of our own that we will not burden the viewers with. So
yeah, it's just Brandon's dad is more of a mastermind than all of you think. Anyways, also just because I'm curious, anyone listening on the YouTube, go ahead, leave comments of punishments that your parents did because I want to read them. I think that would be hilarious to find out the funny punishments
Absolutely.
that you guys did. If there are enough of them, we will spend an episode just discussing those because
And
those
you know
would
what?
be funny.
If there aren't a lot, we will pick our favorite and we'll talk about it at the beginning of the episode. We'll give you a small little shout out.
Yeah, we'll shout you out and just be like, "Wow, that's messed up," or "Wow,
Sucks
that's
to be you.
hilarious."
Anyway.
Yeah, we won't say
Maybe
that.
maybe they'll resurface some deeper memories or something like that.
Yeah, but if you're gonna talk podcast stuff with us, podcast stuff needs to be, on the podcast related content. So on
Just
the
because you know
YouTube,
it
on
doesn't
the
mean you get to be
Instagram.
with us.
Yeah, we gave you an opportunity. Anyways, yeah, so Brandon is decided as the second ever unanimously, the second in a. You've been unanimously decided as the third wheel twice. And you're the first one of us to do that. There, I said it right. Haha, I had stroke. Thank you for listening. There's everything wrong with Brandon being a third wheel, unanimously decided, and we'll see you next week.
It's also, not that bad if Steven can't get the words out.
I have all of the words. Ah!